Opening statements. Now we begin to put all the stuff on the board and a lot more into practice. If there is anything which is new in the way we have approached trial work in the last 150 years, it is that more and more, most of us have come to understand that the opening statement has been neglected. Indeed, many of us believe, and I certainly do, that if you had to pick one aspect of the trial as the most important, it would be the opening statement to the jury. I say further to you that the longer the trial, the more important the opening statement, and the less important the summation. Why is it, for those of us who think this way, that the opening statement is so critically important? Two rules. If you agree with these two rules, you will agree with me. If you don't, you won't. Rule one, no one is ever impartial about anything for as long as they can avoid it. We hate to be impartial. We hate not to have our minds made up. We hate to be in indecision. We can't stand it. All right, Stern, prove it. Okay, I will. You ever turn on your TV set? Suddenly you see a ball game. Two football teams are playing. You don't even know who they are. Red team, blue team, huh? There's nothing on, so you decide to watch. Eventually you found out it's South Podunk against North Podunk, and you don't care. Tell me, are you able to watch that contest in detached reflection, just for the enjoyment of the art? Or do you immediately begin to pick a side and root? And aren't you uncomfortable until you have? You flip the dial again. Now it's a contest. There's two men, two women, a man, a woman, whatever it is, and they're vying for $64 or $64,000. Do you just sit there and watch the event, or do you immediately decide who you for and start to root? As you answer those questions based on your own introspective experience, you will answer for yourself the question of whether you believe, with me, that nobody is ever impartial about anything, at least for as long as they can avoid it. Rule two, once people make up their minds, they try very hard not to change them. Why? Because to change it is to admit that you did what? Make a mistake. And, if you want to add a 2A to it, the longer people have made up their minds, the harder it is to get them to change it. Why? Because they'd have to admit it was a bigger mistake. And as a result of this, once people are committed to a point of view, they work very hard subliminally, without even knowing it, to mishear and missee and misuse information in order to make it conform to their pre-existing point of view. I do not say it is impossible to get them to change, for it is not. But it is difficult, progressing to more difficult, to most difficult, the longer this goes on. I do not say that they do this process willingly and knowingly and maliciously. It is something that we all do in our rationalization. Back to our TV set. You're watching the game. The football game is going on. You're lucky. Why are you lucky? You have a friend with you. You're rooting for one team, and your friend, this is what makes you lucky, is rooting for the other. Now you're really having fun, right? Suddenly your team has the ball. Quarterback is back. Pass goes down the field. The end has caught it. He's in. Touchdown, you scream. You're happy. Your friend says, wait a minute. So what? Yellow flag. Yellow. What do you mean yellow flag? Yellow flag. Look, they're calling the play back. Back is coming to play. It's a holding call. Holding? You say holding? I saw no holding. Now they have an instant replay. See? They replay it. You say, that's holding, you say? What does your friend say? Oh, yeah, it's holding. I see it plain as day. That's what your friend says, right? Are you lying? No. Is your friend lying? No. You actually don't see it as holding. He actually does see it as holding. Now, let's say it's an egregious piece of holding so that even notwithstanding all your bias and prejudice, you cannot deny that there was a holding. What do you say then? Well, maybe there was holding, but what about all the times you held and there was nobody who did the umpires are biased here? Right? By the way, this is not just comedy I'm offering you. Is this not your experience in life? What is operating here is exactly the principles that I have just spoken of. It is why. When Carter ran against Reagan, all of Reagan's supporters felt that the press was unfair to Reagan, and all the Carter supporters felt the press was unfair to Carter, and you can duplicate that in Mondale and Reagan. We cannot bear to hear criticism against the position that we have taken. We think it's unfair, unjust, un-American, and doesn't belong in Wisconsin. Because we are already committed. Now, either I have won you to this or I have failed. But if I have won you, then we understand why the opening statement is of critical importance. But we know much more than this. We have a big secret in our hand.